While the world remains distracted by the noisy theater of politics and the fluctuating speeches of central bankers, a shadow has grown so immense that it now eclipses the sun of the entire global economy. This is the story of BlackRock. Managing over $10 trillion in assets, this institution has transcended the definition of a mere investment firm. It has effectively become the invisible fourth branch of government. From the food on your table to the energy heating your home, BlackRock likely owns a significant piece of the infrastructure of your daily life. But their true power doesn't reside in the physical money they hold. It lies in the invisible architecture they have built to monitor every transaction on Earth. While investors like Warren Buffett rely on history and human intuition, BlackRock relies on something far more cold, calculating, and omnipresent. They have engineered a digital god that monitors every single pulse of the financial system, silently waiting for the perfect mathematical moment to rebalance the world in their favor. Deep within the high-security fortresses of their data centers, a massive artificial intelligence system named Aladdin operates 24 hours a day, without rest or emotion. Aladdin doesn't just track stock prices, it runs millions of complex risk simulations every single second. It understands how a localized drought in South America will ripple through the price of microchips in Asia, or how a single political whisper in Washington could trigger a massive sell-off in London hours later. It currently manages risk for nearly $21 trillion of the world's total wealth. In 2026, the market is no longer driven by human greed or fear. It has become a grand symphony conducted by a singular algorithm. When you witness a sudden, violent move in the global markets, it is rarely humans trading. It is Aladdin adjusting its digital shield to protect the elite, while the retail public remains completely blind to the silent calculation happening behind the screen. We are often told that the stock market is a bastion of competition, but in the age of Aladdin, that is a carefully maintained illusion. How can a single human investor ever hope to compete against a machine that sees the entire global board simultaneously? BlackRock and its algorithmic counterparts have created a circular economy of ownership that is unprecedented in human history. They own the banks that lend the money, the energy companies that power the grid, and the technology giants that control the information you consume. They are not just participants in the market. They have become the market itself. This is no longer traditional capitalism. It is a form of algorithmic feudalism. As we approach the Great Reset of 2026, Aladdin is already positioning the world's remaining wealth into a specific, narrow set of assets. The machine has already calculated the date of the next collapse. The only remaining question is, will you be on the right side of the algorithm's next move? Aladdin is not just a witness to history. It is an active architect of the future. While the general public looks at the stock market like a game of chance or a reflection of the economy, Aladdin sees it as a sequence of inevitable mathematical outcomes. Right now, the system is processing a terrifying reality that the media refuses to cover. The global debt pile has finally reached its absolute breaking point. In 2026, the simulations show a convergence of events that no human mind can fully grasp. The machine is tracking the velocity of money as it slows to a crawl, and the interest on sovereign debt as it begins to consume entire national budgets. It is no longer a matter of if the system breaks, but exactly when the pressure becomes unbearable for the masses. Aladdin has already identified the first domino that will fall, triggering a chain reaction that will rewrite the rules of wealth and ownership for the next century. The banking crisis we witnessed recently was not a failure of the system. For those at the top, it was a perfectly executed rehearsal. Aladdin has calculated that for the new financial order to be born, the old, fragmented banking world must be systematically harvested. We are moving toward a future of absolute consolidation. Small and medium-sized banks are being squeezed out of existence, their deposits flowing into the too-big-to-fail giants that BlackRock monitors, influences, and ultimately controls. In 2026, this process will accelerate into a full-scale purge. When the liquidity dries up, the machine will determine who survives and who is liquidated. It is a controlled demolition of the old financial order, designed to strip away the illusion of choice. By the time the dust settles, The banking landscape will be a centralized fortress of capital where every single transaction you make is visible to the algorithm. What truly comes after the inevitable crash? Aladdin already has the blueprint finalized. The 2026 reset is not just a market correction. It is the gateway to a new era of programmable money. As the traditional fiat system falters under its own impossible weight, the solution is already being uploaded to the global grid. Central bank digital currencies, or CBDCs. This is the ultimate goal of the algorithmic takeover. In this new reality, your access to your own capital is no longer a fundamental right. It becomes a permission granted by the system based on your data. Aladdin will be the infrastructure that manages this new world, connecting your identity, your spending habits, and your social compliance into a single, monitored data point. The machine isn't just preparing for a market crash. It is preparing for the total integration of human life into a digital financial grid. The reset is not the end of the story. It is the beginning of absolute control. Every machine needs an operator, and every grand plan requires a master architect. At the very center of this complex web stands Larry Fink, the CEO of BlackRock, and perhaps the most powerful individual in the history of modern finance. Fink did not just want to manage global wealth. He sought to force behaviors on a planetary scale. This is the true, hidden meaning behind the rise of ESG, environmental, social, and governance investing. To the public, it is marketed as a noble way to save the planet, but to the eyes of Aladdin, it is a sophisticated social credit system for the corporate world. By controlling the flow of capital based on these arbitrary scores, BlackRock can decide which companies thrive and which are starved into bankruptcy. In 2026, this system will reach its final, absolute form. It is no longer about generating profit. It is about total compliance. The architect is not just managing your money. He is re-engineering the very fabric of human society. While the world remains distracted by the volatility of Bitcoin and the looming collapse of the stock market, BlackRock is quietly executing the greatest asset grab in human history. They are moving away from the paper wealth of the past and shifting into the tangible reality of the future. Across the globe, BlackRock and its massive subsidiaries are buying up single-family homes, essential farmland, and critical energy infrastructure at an unprecedented rate. Why? Because the algorithm knows that in the 2026 reset, currency can be deleted or devalued, but land and resources remain. They are preparing for a rent-seeking economy, where the middle class no longer owns their homes, but instead rents them directly from the algorithm. This is the ultimate realization of the infamous prediction: you will own nothing, and you will be happy. They are not just buying assets. They are buying the gatekeeping rights to your future. By the time the public realizes the game has changed, the ground beneath their feet will belong to the machine. The most terrifying aspect of BlackRock's dominance is the complete lack of a viable alternative. They have achieved what can only be described as a total monopoly on the future. During the 2008 crisis and the 2020 lockdowns, the government didn't just ask for their advice. They hired them to manage the multi-billion-dollar bailouts. BlackRock has effectively become the backstop for the Federal Reserve itself. They are the fire department and the arsonist at the exact same time. They advise the politicians on how to regulate the global markets, while their AI, Aladdin, bets on the outcomes of those very regulations. There is no exit from this system because the system was designed to be inescapable. As we move closer to the 2026 threshold, the distinction between the state and the corporation is fading into a single, unified power structure. You cannot vote them out, and you cannot sue them. They have captured the engine of civilization itself, and now, they are simply waiting for the old world to burn. As we cross the threshold into 2026, we are not witnessing a mere market correction or a temporary downer. We are witnessing a convergence, a mathematical inevitability that Aladdin has been calculating with cold precision for over a decade. The old world of decentralized wealth and unmonitored transactions is being systematically dismantled. In this final phase, the volatility will become a weapon. While the masses are paralyzed by the sight of their disappearing retirement funds and the chaotic headlines of a global debt default, the machine will be working in silence. It is during this period of maximum fear that the transition occurs. The old fiat currencies will be declared broken, and the emergency solution will be presented as the only way forward. The reset is not just about the destruction of the old. It is about the forced birth of a new, fully integrated digital reality where every asset is accounted for and every player is identified. In the aftermath of the 2026 reset, a new world will emerge, one where the very definition of freedom has been fundamentally altered. The financial system will no longer be a neutral tool for trade. It will become a digital panopticon. With the implementation of programmable CBDCs managed by the algorithmic infrastructure of BlackRock, your wallet will be connected to your digital identity, your carbon footprint, and your social compliance score. This is the world that Aladdin has modeled, a perfectly efficient, perfectly controlled society where wasteful human behavior is corrected in real time. If you spend too much on restricted goods, or if your opinions clash with the prevailing narrative, the algorithm can simply limit your purchasing power. Wealth will no longer be something you possess. It will be something you are permitted to use. The ultimate goal of the machine was never just money. It was the total management of the human element in the global economic equation. So, how do you prepare for a future that has already been calculated by a machine? The answer does not lie in following the panicked crowd into the next trap. It lies in building your own personal fortress of information and self-reliance. To survive the 2026 reset, you must detach from the illusion of paper wealth and reconnect with reality. Seek tangible assets, acquire knowledge that the algorithm cannot delete, and foster communities that exist outside the digital grid. The silence of Warren Buffett and the calculations of Aladdin both point to the same truth. The storm is no longer a possibility, it is a certainty. While the machine prepares to rebalance the world, you must prepare to rebalance your own life. This documentary is your final warning to stop being a data point and start becoming an architect of your own survival. The reset is coming, but for those who are prepared, it is not the end of the world. It is the beginning of a new kind of freedom.